red, but this Danilo Cartacci red. And I promise you there are many other reds, because colors are super varied. Indeed, the name of the colors is just a way to know where I will put this in my rack of colors for companies. And for you to say to your friend, hey, you know what, this flat red was fantastic because it was flat and was red, you know? But they don't mean anything else. And indeed, the same tone in different companies, they have different names, right? At the end, you have to learn how to distinguish the property of the colors, different properties that we cannot get inside. But let's say temperature, saturation, probably you are familiar with those concepts, no?
Yes.
Some of you are familiar with those concepts. So saturation, temperature, vibrancy, which is a different thing, is how strong it is, you know, how alive it is, right? How much soul it has. And then different properties of mixing. Like, for example, it's a pity that I couldn't bring some scale 75 tubes, the new ones, the heavy body, because now you're seeing that people are producing heavy body colors. Guess why? Because those are tendencies, right? We started to use heavy body. I mean, we are not discovering anything. We brought this from the art field, right? We went to an art shop and we asked the guy, hey, what's the most powerful color you have? And they told us, well, maybe this golden acrylic, maybe this Winsor Newton. And we asked them, and what about this? And they told me. Why? Because these ones are easy to tame, control, yes, like a horse, right? Easy, because the pigment is flat, is dull, and is matte. But guys, life is not matte. We are not matte. Many things are not matte. Some things are matte. Some other things are not matte. So if we make this loop all together, right, at the end, where's my figure? Somewhere?
It's my figure.
Ah, it's there. Cool. Cool. So the key of this speech, and the only way that I can make this appearance of myself not useless for you, I don't want you to lose your time. I think the most important thing is to encourage you to try these things. Why? Because I could come here, start painting. In 2 hours, I can paint a figure to sell directly. Indeed, is what I do in the demos, in the courses. I use 90 minutes. You can check them on Instagram, and this is free, not like the Patreon. So you can check them there. And there are many examples of demos of 90 minutes that they work by themselves. They are already good. They are already nice. And that's also related with the concept of sketching. Most of the times, we think that the sketch is something that goes first, because then something else go later, right? While this is not necessarily true. Do you know Hellboy? Mike Mignola?
Yes.
What do you think? Is a good artist?
Yes.
Who thinks he's a good artist? Did you like it? The other, they hate Mike Mignola. But because 4 people here, they say, and this is a democracy, we say that he's a good artist, at least we can consider that he could be a good artist. He's a fantastic artist, guys. You have to follow this guy. This guy doesn't paint technically perfect. He's not doing a hyper-realism. Indeed, he doesn't even draw the feet of the characters. It's always some smoke or something like this. Because it's not necessary sometimes to create something beautiful. Do you know Frank Miller? Frank Miller? 300? You know 300, the movie? Frank Miller. Sin City? Frank Miller. That's based on Frank Miller. Those are Frank Miller's stories and drawings. This guy looks like a sketch, but these sketches cost more than anything that we can see here, unfortunately, because this should be better valued. I'm going to start making like midtones. What I want to say with this is that a work is finished when the artist decides it's finished. And indeed, in the miniature world, we are obsessed with everything should have the same level of definition and accuracy. Yes?
Yes.
Especially in dioramas and things like this?
Yes.
While if you see...
Follow the rules now.
What?
You should follow the rules.
Yeah. The point is, when we see a canvas by Rembrandt, you know Rembrandt? Rembrandt is a good artist. And a little bit more historical than everybody of us, I think, no? At least because he's dead, no? We think he's dead, at least. Like Elvis Presley. Well, the point of this is that if you check any of those pictures where there is when there's not only one character, there are many elements that are not in the same focus, right? They are not defined at the same level, right? It's just me who is sweating like a pig? Yes, it's me. Okay, guys, sorry for that. That's because I'm nervous, you know, with such a beautiful crowd. In miniatures, we are always searching for the failure. And even us, when we are judging, it's like, this is not so well defined. It's like the front part, the face is the most amazing thing I've seen in my life. But, check this little thing in yellow, silver, right?
Yes.
That has happened many times. So to me, my concept is, I don't know if I can call it more artistic, maybe. But I think that all of us, we dream at some point to call this world artistic, no? Or to feel like an artist sometimes, no? Don't you? Don't you think that? Because it's a very relieving feeling, no? When you are at home and no one is bothering you and you want to be creative for a while, right? Well, I think that is something that depends completely on you. Obviously, there are some rules that you need to know about volumes, about how to place the light, at least to be able to fake it more efficiently, right? Because that's another topic, like light comes from here. How many times have you heard this comment? Hey, that's wrong because light comes from here, no? And it's like, well, he is in the countryside, so light don't come from here, light comes from there, because the sun is like a little bit bigger than you, no? And you don't have the sun here, no? And if the sun is hitting you, right, in a daylight, you will not have zenithal source light, because zenithal source light is a theatrical light. So normally it's a fake light, right? That is created to enhance volumes and to enhance expressions. That makes sense or not?
Yeah.
So when I see all those beautiful figures with an amazing zenithal source light in the face, but not in the arms, for example, because the arm has to be, maybe it's a uniform that has to be completely flat because this is what we have been told, then basically we are following rules without asking ourselves why. And I think that is interesting, thank you, to ask ourselves why. In my case, the answer is quite simple. It's like, why? Because I feel it, or because I want it, or because I want to try, or because I think it looks cool. Most of the most complex artworks, I don't know if you, the ones who doesn't follow me, do you know like scale 75? Yeah? The ones who doesn't know me, you know night models, for example? Yeah? Maybe some, no? Do you know something about figures in general, or is like companies, I mean? No? You are from tanks? You are from tanks?
I know scale 75.
Scale 75, but you don't know figures about it. It's to make examples. Well, anyway, skip that. Can we restart our friendship first? Thank you. Well, what I want to say is that sometimes when you see something very complex, and actually we are moving into a very interesting direction in the miniature world where the painters are becoming illustrators, and the painting, I'm sorry to disappoint you, man. That happens sometimes. And I will kiss him or something. We are becoming illustrators. And we are reinterpreting the volumes to our own taste, right? And doing some things that sometimes are very complex, like bouncing lights, rim lights, 3 lights at once, while the character is crying, and you have the feeling of that he is under the sea with a neon light taken in a strip club, for example. You know, super complex ideas, that some of them are nice, some of them are just a little bit crazy, but being crazy sometimes is good as well, trying. the fact is that we are developing the painting of miniatures really, really fast and really deep. And we are now entering in a very difficult moment where some people will be completely against because, well, that exists, that happens, you know. It's like when you create something that looks new, some people will be against that. I don't know why this happened because I'm very open-minded. And if you like something, I'm no one to be against. I mean, if I don't like something myself, I just don't consume it, and that's it, right? But when the people that follow these tendencies and they feel attracted by complex things like, I don't know, just a simple chiaroscuro coming from one side, the light, and total darkness in the other side, Caravaggio, another historical painter. These things are quite new in the miniature world, and they are always intentional. What do I want to say with intentional? That the painter is taking decisions that not necessarily has to be has to do with reality, has to do with aesthetic, which is a different thing. And because this is a 3D canvas, we cannot fake as much as we can fake with a 2D canvas, which is a much more difficult thing to paint, a 2D, because you don't have anything to support your painting. Basically, painting a figure is quite simple. At the end, you know, half of the work is done by the sculptor. But the truth is that when you have a canvas, you have a different advantage, which is that you can fake anything. And indeed, you use your background to push certain things. That's why an effect can be super convincing in a flat painting or in a canvas, while in a figure it's more difficult. You have to be searching for this effect working in many different angles, right? And there is no one way to do it. There are many different ways to do it. Indeed, if you study art, in general, artists, I'm not an expert, but you know, I'm quite familiar with many artists, especially classical artists. Do someone has a proper white that is not ivory? No? Okay. So, well, you see that thank you. The sets of paint of skin tones are not very necessary, right? That happens exactly the same with any tertiary tone. Indeed, all the uniforms, you can create them yourself. All the uniform colors, like, I don't know, Japanese uniform, English uniform, whatever uniform. If you have the right amount, the right pigments for the primary tones. My concept of painting, and the concept of many others, fortunately, I think, is that there are not linear progressions. What do I say, or what do I mean with linear progressions? People tend to think that everything has to be a gradient from A to B, right? And if you really search for something, I wouldn't call it realistic, but believable, right? The reality is not A to B. Can you check your hands, please? Can you check your hands? It's an easy task. Can you check your hands, please? Can you please check your hands? Yeah, it's for 30 seconds. I promise you it will be worth it. Do you think that you have one color in your hand? No. That someone has one color in his hand?
Why?
Yeah. It's only the hand, right? Don't talk about the face, right? So the face is not just 3 colors. The face is a bunch of many different things, right? In order to achieve this organic chaos, right, you can play here. And you can play fast as well, which is another concept that we are not very familiar to in miniatures. I'm not inventing anything. I'm just bringing concepts from classical art, basically, right? Which is something that for some people is a little bit scary. And I guess that is because people feel scared sometimes when they don't control something. But I promise you that controlling this is a matter of practicing, basically. And you know, this is not just the saying, this is the truth. Obviously there are people with more talent than others, like in anything else, but everybody is able to play music. Do you play music, some of you? Yeah? Okay. Guys, speaking 2 hours is not easy. So if you can give me some feedback, that's always really nice. So what I was saying, guys.
Music.
Okay, music. So everybody, I have a friend, one of my best friends, he's a guitarist. He plays blues. And he plays really well. My problem is that I listen to trap music. So I cannot value the depth of his playing. And indeed, when he told me, look at this composition of this black guy that was chewing tobacco in Iowa in 1940, you know, and to me, all sounds the same because I'm a redneck with music, you know? And there's no, I mean, it's funny when I say it about myself. It's funny. I'm super stupid with music, that you can laugh as much as you want. But I'm taking your laugh to explain something, which is, if I tell that you are a redneck, you will be probably feel offended, right? But if I tell to myself, it's like, perfect. Sometimes it's better if you can admit to yourself that maybe you don't know so much about something, and there's nothing wrong. If you don't know about something, you can learn. That's the beautiful thing about learning. Indeed, when you know everything about something, well, I don't think that there is no one that knows everything about something. But the more you know about something, the more boring it became. And this is the truth, right? So I encourage you to play with colors, to experiment with colors, to answer the question of our mate. What's your name? Your name is? Your name is?
My name?
Yeah.
Daniel.
Daniel. Nice to meet you, Daniel. Alfonso. So Daniel asked me before about my background, my learning background. And sometimes I will want to ask this to my students as well. You know, like, what's your background about art? You know, I bought some magazines from Andrea Miniatures, and then, I don't know, the book of whoever that give me some beautiful recipes. And how many times have you searched for recipes to paint? A lot? Why?
I liked it.
You liked it? What?
When I saw a specific one.
And what do you like? What is what you like? You like the
Finish.
rest? You like the finish?
Yes, and I wanted to practice how to do it.
No, you wanted to have this finish.
That's true, but also in the process practice it.
And do you think that when they tell you, when you follow a real painter, he tell you something real with a recipe? I'm going to disappoint you a lot.
Now I have been to, for example, Roman Lapat's class, and
He's not a recipe. He's not a recipe guy.
he has a few, and
Yeah.
I used to use them, those recipes, and then switch to his method.
Okay, so that's a good point, because Roman Lapat is one of my best friends, so I can go against him. And Roman Lapat was my student as well. So I have double right to say this. Roman Lapat is not a recipe guy, not at all. Do you know Roman Lapat, guys? Do you know Roman Lapat? So you know Roman Lapat, but you don't know me, no? Well, but Roman Lapat knows me, so it's all is complete. The circle is complete. Anyway, next step. So I think is what. Roma Lapat is not about recipes. Obviously, he has some supportive colors that he used, some supportive combos that he used. I don't know if you follow any sport. Do you like football? Some of you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Good, strong answer.
in football, there is two main facts, right? The first one is Atlético de Madrid is the best club in the world. The second one, you cannot say the contrary because what?
It's the second.
He's from Barcelona.
Yeah, I am from Barcelona. It's the second.
Well, I can agree well, I can agree, yeah, I can agree. Okay, shut up. Well, let's move. Messi is the best player in the world. Yes. That's for sure.
In the story.
No, probably in the history. I've never seen Pelé. I cannot compare, but you know, in the recent history, for sure. But he has some combos. When you see him playing, he has some combos that he repeats very often. What is the difference between him and the rest? That he does this when no one expects, or he does it faster, or that he has many other tools and many other resources that when he cannot make his combo of goal, right, he can do some other things. And this is variety, right? Having a large variety of resources will always make you a better artist. That's a fact. Roman Lapat is not a fantastic painter. He's a fantastic artist. It's a different thing. There are many people that paints better than him. There are not so many people that create better art than him in the miniature world. Because Roman is not based on his painting. Roman is based on this. Ideas, composition, risk. Does he paint well? Obviously, yes. Does he paint like Michel Pisarsky? No. Technically wise? No. But sometimes I find more interesting to see Roman Lapat than. Why? Because with one I'm seeing like a perfect technique. I'm not doing anything wrong. Huh? Don't misunderstand my words, because I think that the examples are good. Sometimes we're always obsessed by a technical approach. How to get to that point, how to get this color, without understanding that to get to this color, sometimes color are an emotional response, right? And it's a matter of experience. I know this is not impressive, but how many real minutes I've been painting to get to that point? 7, 10?
Yeah, about.
Do you think that many people arrive to this point in 10 minutes? Seriously? Do you
No.
think? And what's behind this?
Experience. You paint freely. Most people just
It's about knowledge, it's about experience, and it's about being fearless. I don't care if I fail, because I have enough resources to resolve the failure, and also because failing is part of the experience. When we try to represent something that is real, the battle of whatever, the Ardennes in the Second World War. ¿Cómo se dice eso? How do you say that? Ardennes, the Battle of the Ardennes, right? Well, I was not there, fortunately, right? I can imagine the environment by checking the place. I can imagine the uniform. I can make a nice composition, nice storytelling. That is already a nice point, right? But then, how to paint with colors? How to create an outcome? Well, that depends on your taste. Why everything should be painted in the same fucking way? Seriously, guys, how many times have you gone to a contest, a miniature contest? Please stand your hands up if it's more than 3. Many. More than 2? The first one? You will see in the future events that the miniatures separately, they could be exciting, but when you see them all together, it's the same thing. There is no variation. We're stuck and we don't move forward. Because when you move forward, people punch you, basically. This is how this miniature world works, right? And that's the reason why I use 2 hours of your time to deliver this message. Especially if you're new, because you have to be refreshing, right? And at the end, the style is a matter of personal taste. Who can tell me that Caravaggio is better? Oh, well, sorry. Do you know Monet?
Yes.
Does someone, can someone tell me that Caravaggio is better than Monet? It's a matter of taste, I guess, no? Someone will tell me, I prefer Caravaggio. And someone will tell me, I prefer Van Gogh, right? So it's a matter of taste. Imagine now that these guys are coming to a miniature contest and they're painting with their styles miniatures, right? Even the same figure, right? Sorry. 2. I have the record for today.
3.
You're leaving?
No.
That was the 3rd? Nightmares today. Anyway. So what I'm saying with that is, imagine that now, is this not interesting?
Yes, it is.
Well, I know that for you it's. I only care about her. Is interesting or not?
Yes.
A little bit?
Caravaggio is-
But just a little bit? Thank you. So the point of this is, now imagine that Van Gogh, Monet, Caravaggio, Velázquez, Rembrandt, and I don't know, choose one. One from comic, Moebius. You know Moebius? Right? All of them are fantastic artists, right? You cannot put them in a ranking. That makes no sense. Because someone will tell you, oh, Rembrandt is the master of light. And then I tell you, Sorolla is the master of light for me. And he's a post-impressionist painter. And someone will tell me, no, for me it's Caravaggio because the chiaroscuro, the fourth. Oh, no, it's two. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. You can throw it next time. So, if they come to this contest or any other contest and they start painting in their own styles, what do you think it will happen? And now I don't ask you, I ask a judge. What will happen?
What I think will happen, well,
Reality.
In reality, the one that looks the most like what we're used to will win.
Caravaggio will win.
Yeah,
Or Rembrandt maybe.
yeah.
Or Velázquez. These three. This is the best of show.
Or Dali, because it's a little daring,
Yeah, but
very realistic.
But Dali plays with topics that, like, if he plays with a time, with a clock
Yeah.
that is melting, they will say clocks don't melt. Well, Dali will win in the best of show of fantasy. Right? So, don't you think it's a little bit weird that we go to a museum, we can admire those artists and say, well, that's Munch, right? You know Munch? Right? That's a fantastic art piece. It's so ugly, like hell, right? And someone will tell me, my little nephew, he is like 5 years old, so I allow him to be stupid for 2 seconds, you know? When he tells me, "Ah, but this is not well drawn." Yeah, it's true. Because this is not about making a beautiful face that works. It's about making an emotion. And emotion is something that has to be disgusting. Have you seen Goya? Goya, you know Goya? Saturn eating his kid? Do you think that this is something that you will place in the room of your little son? No? No? Hopefully, otherwise you should go to jail, right? Well, this is something that works in a specific environment and only works because how he is playing, not only with the colors, also with the brushstroke. The brushstroke is so aggressive, if you have this image in mind, the hair of the guy is like, it looks like an old-fashioned rock star from the 70s after many drugs, basically. Right? So that is something very aggressive and very ugly to see, is what makes it works, right? So why when we come to a miniature contest, we are always concerned only about making the best blending we can? Can you answer me this question? Because I've been asking myself this for 15 years, so. What?
It's because rules are safe,
Uh-huh.
and most people prefer safety rather than new experiences.
Safe for whom?
Well, we have a community with a set of rules, and everyone applies to them.
And
so
who
we have
created-
safety within the community.
Who created those rules? Ah, by the way, I'm mixing on top of the previous colors so I can relate them. That makes sense? If I want to create a unique color, I separate it. If I want to combine, I create bridges between themselves. And then I have a gradient. Make sense? Okay. I agree with you, but
There's a problem, isn't there? Because we enter competitions to win. And to show our work, of course, but to win. And
completely.
there's not many judges with the same mindset as you guys, where they take something that's rough but emotional,
Or-
and say, this is beautiful. There's not many judges that say that.
But as a viewer, when you see those things, you feel they are beautiful.
Yeah, and as a judge, I'd say...
So then it's also
as well,
your
but-
fault.
Of course, but there's lots of judges that will look at that stuff and say, well, it's rough.
It doesn't live up to our standards.
Exactly,
So
and that's part of the problem.
John, one thing. I agree with that. I agree with that. But you need that? I mean, do you think, guys, that you need the medals? I mean, I love to win medals. Personally, I've been winning medals all my life. But do you think that this defines you as a painter? So we are in a moment of rupture, can I say? Rupture.
Yeah.
We are in a moment of rupture right now. It is. I don't care if people want to trust me or not. It is. It's the moment where everything we have been doing for 20 years, now it's already old-fashioned, right? And now people are discovering new ways. Those new ways are about technical resources, Kirill, material interpretation, Kirill, Lan, style, myself, or yourself. Like you don't know to a guy, you should. Also technical development. Your figures are technically really good, for example, right? Once you already have this technical development, then what is next? I've been asking all my students, it's already 800. I say the number because numbers sometimes are important, especially to make a measurement, you know? Especially to take conclusions. In all the world, from Turkey to LA to Vancouver to Sweden, the same questions, the same problems, the same blocked minds, you know? Like, oh, they see my demos, because now I'm not painting, I'm speaking. But you see me painting a demo in 90 minutes and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I don't even go closer, you know that. I go like this. And they say, whoa, that's amazing, but is it not wrong? Check that sentence. It's like, it's completely pointless. It's like, makes no sense at all. It's like, oh, that's the most amazing feeling ever, but is it not wrong? Man, if it's amazing, it's not wrong. Cannot be wrong. I mean, it's not that you're saying, oh, this heroin is amazing, it's not wrong. Well, that maybe this is wrong for your body, right? But this is painting. You don't take any risk with that. Obviously, I understand that people want to win medals, but this is why the system is not working. Because we are not entering in the contest to show our art. We are entering in the contest just for a fucking dirty medal that is a